this is January Wood, and welcome to January's Vegan Kitchen, or welcome back if you've been here before. I'm really excited today because we're going to be making two different kinds of milk, and these are so super simple. It's really nice to be able to make a milk substitute at home and not have to run out to the store and get soy milk or whatever other kind of milk that you usually use. And so I'm going to be using hazelnuts for the first milk, and we're actually going to be using oats for the second milk. So here's our ingredients. I have the oats, the hazelnuts, and these are raw. And then I've got just salt, sugar, a little bit of vanilla, and of course we'll be using water. Okay? All right, so let's get started with our first one, which is going to be the hazelnuts. Now these are raw organic hazelnuts. You can get them in bulk at the health food store and a lot of other stores as well. Winco, Fred Meyer, and stores, any store that has bulk will usually have these, but make sure that they are raw. And that goes with any of the nuts that you make milk from, because it's not going to work if they're cooked. They have to be raw. Okay? And so we're just going to make a little bit. I'm going to measure out a half a cup of these. Oops. That's okay. I'll get that one later. It's a little bit more than half a cup. And that's not quite half a cup. Okay. So we've got about a half a cup. And then I'm going to put them in the blender. And then we'll take, of course you want to use filtered water, but I'm using regular water. About a cup, a little bit less than a cup of water. I'm going to put them in the blender. Now these hazelnuts are hard, so they have to blend for a little while. The hazelnuts will have to blend for 1 to 2 minutes. It depends on your blender, though, and the strength of your blender. Make sure that you don't have a lot of large pieces. All right, so what we're going to do then, and you can take a look at what we've got here. So what we'll do is we're going to strain the meat out of it. You can use just a little strainer like this one. You can use a larger strainer, but you want to make sure that it's reasonably fine. There's still going to be some silt or some pieces and very small pieces in there that get through this strainer. If you want to use it for everyday milk and you want it to be a little bit more refined or finer, then you can run it through a cheesecloth or a finer strainer than this. Okay. All right, and so I'm going to take this, and you can see I do have a couple of big pieces left over. We're going to put it in the strainer. And can you see it coming through there? Of course, you want to push it through a little bit, like you would with anything that you strain. You can do this very same thing with almonds and make you some nice almond milk, or with sunflower seeds. These are just really yummy. Walnuts actually even work, but the milk isn't very attractive. So look at that. Beautiful color. And you can tell, maybe you can tell, oops, that the texture is nice. I mean, it's not super thick, but it does have some substance to it. You see that? All right, so with the hazelnut milk, another option that you have is you can add just a little tiny bit of salt. And this is raw organic sugar. You can add a little bit of sugar if you want to, or I use a lot of grade B maple syrup, which is a great sweetener as well, and you can shake that up. Now, if you want to use it as a regular milk for cereals and things, you might want to taste it first, and then you might want to add a little bit of sweetener and a little bit of salt. You can actually even add some vanilla if you'd like to do that. One thing that I don't like about some of the soy milks that you buy in the stores. They're too sweet. And so if you're making something where you don't want that sweetness, this would be a great milk to use. Now again, remember that you can make this with almonds, with sunflower seeds, with sesame seeds. Now again, the taste will be different. And so experiment with some of the different kinds of tree nuts and things that are out there and see what you like. Now we're going to make the second milk with oats. Now these are regular rolled oats, old-fashioned oats. They come in a big cardboard round cylinder. And so these are old-fashioned oats. We're going to use the oats, some water. We will need the salt and a sweetener of some sort. And then, of course, you can add vanilla if you like. This is, again, it's super easy. Now talk about cheap too. It's about the cheapest kind of milk you could possibly make, unless you have a cow in the backyard, and we're not doing dairy, are we? All right, so we're going to start with our oats. And again, I'm not making a lot of this. I'm just going to make a little bit. So about a half a cup of oats. Throw those in the blender. And we don't want the oats to sit in the water for any length of time at all. We want to do this quickly. In some recipes where, like cashew milk maybe, it'll tell you to soak the cashews. Don't ever soak the oats because they will turn into mush. Okay. And then I'm going to use about a cup of water. And throw those in there. And very quickly, we're going to blend this up, and it really doesn't take a lot of time to blend this. Even though we strain the oats out, there's still going to be a little bit of fiber left in there as well. Okay. All righty. So we're going to do the same thing that we just did. There's a little bit of water in there. Run this through the strainer. Okay, there we go. How easy was that? There we have your oat milk. Now this milk is very, very plain. It looks nice though. It's not going to be as thick as the hazelnut milk that we just made. So I definitely like to add a little pinch of salt, and you're going to need sweetener of some sort, so I like to add that, and I like to add the vanilla as well to this. And there you go. So how cool is that? We made 2 different kinds of milks. Now, I would encourage you to experiment with your sunflower seeds, almonds, the hazelnuts that we worked with today. And you can even mix that in with some of the oat milk because this is so mild and plain. And so you can get your own signature milk that works for you and your family, all without having to get anywhere near a cow. How's that? Now we're going to make mayonnaise. We're going to use silken tofu, or you can use the soft tofu, but the harder tofu or the firm tofu isn't going to work. So it has to be either silken or soft or ultra soft tofu. We use that a lot for desserts and that sort of thing because of the way it blends. You also want to check and make sure that it's organic, or it says made from non-GMO soybeans, and that's what this says. We'll use paprika, olive oil, or any type of oil that you want to use. We'll use our lemon juice, a little bit of garlic, and salt. All right, so this is going to be really super simple, as most everything has been so far. And you take your silken tofu and you make sure that you get all the water out. And then I just cut one of the bricks in half. And so what I've got is a nice half. So we're going to work with this. Throw that in the blender. Okay. Measure out about 1/4 cup of oil. So pour that in there. Now your olive oil is going to add a little bit of course, olive oil flavor to it. But usually that turns out all right. With the amount of salt and lemon juice that we use, it usually comes out all right. We want about 2 or 3 dashes of paprika. That's going to give it a really nice color. Okay. 1 dash of garlic. You can leave this out if you want. I like to add it. You won't really taste the garlic. It just adds a little something to it. Just a little. Yeah, that's enough. Okay. And we're going to use about 2 measuring teaspoons of salt, or about 4 good dashes of salt with a shaker. And then your lemon juice, we'll use about 1/8 cup, or 1/16 cup, I'm sorry. About 1/16 cup. So if you have a cup measure, you can do about half of 1/8 cup. Okay, so throw that in there. Doesn't take long to blend this. You just blend it for a few moments. Oh, nice. And the color is really pretty too from the paprika. Look at that. And there we have your mayonnaise. I put it in a jar. Isn't that nice? Got a nice jar of mayonnaise. Again, I mean, the consistency is pretty good, but it will get thicker in the refrigerator. Yummy. Yeah. And so there we have it. We have made 2 different kinds of milk. We made hazelnut milk and we made oat milk. We made a wonderful, fabulous, and absolutely delicious mayonnaise. And with that, I made some potato salad here. And we did it very, very quickly. Wasn't that easy? Don't you feel accomplished? I know I do. Thank you for joining me in January's Vegan Kitchen. My name is January Wood, and next time, I hope you'll be here because I'm going to be making a cheesy spread for like crackers and things. It's going to be fabulous and again, super easy. We'll also be making some Parmesan cheese substitute. Thank you again for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.